Good afternoon, welcome to GrainTV. My name's Cody. Today is the 26th. It's a Thursday, which means export sales were released out this morning. But before we get into that, let's turn over to the grain hedge trading platform and see where we closed off the day. Corn trading up 4 cents, soybeans up 15 3/4, and wheat in Chicago trading up 2.5 cents here on the day. Let's talk a little bit about soybeans. Obviously, attention is on the trucker strike and blockade down there in Brazil that's keeping fuel from getting out to the countryside that needs it to harvest the grain, and also keeping grain from getting into the ports. So obviously this is an incredible concern here to anyone that is interested in the soybeans and trading them. So the bottom line here, yesterday there was a meeting between representatives of that trucker strike and the government. The government stated that they are not going to be reducing that diesel tax. However, they did seem to make some concessions here. They told truckers and transport companies late Wednesday that they will extend a year of free financing for vehicles from the State Department or State Development Bank. Also, they're going to try and keep diesel prices fixed here for the next 6 months and help truckers and transport companies work out a framework for setting freight rates. So the bottom line here is they said they kind of refused to reduce that diesel tax, but they did provide some sort of support for the truckers. Now, this has caused some truckers to abandon this whole trucker strike. However, those that remain, and there still are a significant amount that remain on the roads, blocking transportation here during this critical time of harvest. Basically, the Brazil's Justice Minister announced that there will be fines. Those fines are going to be between $1,700 and $3,400 per hour for truckers that continue to strike and continue to block the travel here through the road. So the bottom line is these fines are very significant, and if these are actually levied on the truckers, which it seems like they will be, I would assume this would start to break up some of this trucker strike here and blockade that has really congested the overall Brazil transportation, keeping a lot of fuel from areas that they need it during this time of harvest, and also keeping a lot of beans out of the ports. Let's talk a little bit about export sales out this morning. What we saw here is that corn missed analyst expectations, coming in with 715,000 metric tons compared to expectations of 900,000 to 1.1 million metric tons. This is a bit of a disappointment. It was down 23% week over week. The bottom line here is that even though we have relatively weak corn export sales, we are ahead of pace. Take a look at the corn cumulative export commitments for this year. You can see that we're 34.8 million metric tons booked at this time of the year. That compares to last year at around 36 million metric tons, and what the expected USDA pace to meet the current USDA estimates, taking into account seasonality here, the pace that we need is 30.8. So we're well ahead of the 30.8 million metric tons that's needed to meet USDA expectations, and that's very positive. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next WASDE report we have a little bit of a bump up in export sales expectations for corn. Let's talk a little bit about soybeans here. Came in on the low side of analyst expectations, but this is still strong sales. During this time of the year, we would expect to see cancellations. We haven't been seeing that. I'm sure that down in South America, this trucking strike is if this continues, this is going to disrupt the overall flow of grain out of Brazil, and it could lead to continued sales onto the U.S. books. One of the reasons why we continue to rally here for soybeans. But bottom line here, 459,000 metric tons sold this week for soybeans, on the low side of analyst expectations. Take a look at the cumulative export pace here for soybeans. You can see that we have 47.12 million metric tons booked this year. This compares to the pace needed to meet USDA expectations of only 41.9 and last year's pace of 43.4. The bottom line here is that soybeans are well ahead of pace to meet USDA expectations. very positive. And yet again, I wouldn't be surprised if in the next WASDE report here, we see an increase in export sales. Let's talk a little bit about wheat. Wheat coming in the middle of analyst expectations. Nothing too exciting here, but nothing disappointing either. We saw 328,000 metric tons of wheat booked this week. That's very positive. We are ahead of pace when it comes to wheat cumulative export commitments compared to what we need during this time of the year to meet USDA expectations. Right now we have booked 21.3 million metric tons compared to what is needed during this time, which is 20.8 million metric tons. So we are ahead of pace, but not by an awful lot. We need to see a significant pickup in wheat exports if we're going to see prices turn around here. We only saw a little bit of a bump in today's price movement. Guys, if you have any questions about what we talked about today, give the office a call. The number is 877-472-4607. And remember, if you haven't done so already, take a demo of the free trading platform there, the free trial. You can see what it's like to trade from your mobile phone. You can see what it's like to be able to manage your positions in the evening session when your full service broker isn't available. Thanks a lot for tuning in. We'll see you here on Friday for the weekly wrap up.